There will come a day when you finally get it. The thing you've been chasing for years. The goal that kept you awake at night. The version of success you promised yourself you'd reach, no matter what it cost. And on that day, you'll stand there, finally holding it in your hands. For a moment, it will feel exactly like you imagined it would. But then, almost without warning, your mind will drift backward, not to celebrate, to remember. It will take you back through every step it took to get here, every decision, every shortcut you considered, every moment you stood at a crossroads where one path was easy and the other was right. And in that quiet moment, after the applause fades and the noise dies down, you will ask yourself the only question that has ever truly mattered. Not, did I win? But who did I become to win? Because here is something almost no one tells you about success. It is entirely possible to reach the exact goal you dreamed of and still feel completely empty standing inside it. You can get the title, the money, the relationship, the recognition. You can get every single thing you said would finally make you happy and still feel a strange, hollow ache where pride should be. Not because the goal wasn't worth it, but because somewhere along the way, to get there faster, to get there easier, you let go of a piece of who you were. Maybe it was a small lie that made things move quicker. Maybe it was a person you used and discarded once they were no longer useful. Maybe it was a value you always said you'd never compromise, until the moment came when compromising it was simply convenient. And you told yourself it was just this once, just this one time, just to get past this one obstacle. But character isn't broken all at once. It erodes quietly, one small compromise at a time, until one day you look in the mirror and don't fully recognize the person staring back. That is the real cost no one warns you about. Think about how this actually happens in real life. It rarely looks dramatic. It looks like staying silent when you should have spoken up, because speaking up was inconvenient. It looks like taking credit for something you didn't fully do, because correcting it felt embarrassing. It looks like watching someone else get blamed for your mistake and saying nothing because your reputation mattered more than their pain in that moment. None of these moments feel like betrayal when they happen. They feel like survival. They feel like simply doing what it takes. But slowly, quietly, they become the architecture of who you are. And one day, success arrives. But so does the weight of everything it took to get there. Here's the question almost no one asks early enough. What is the actual price of this goal? Not the time, not the effort, not the money. The price in terms of who you have to become. Because winning was never just about reaching the destination. It was always about who survives the journey intact. Think about the people you admire most. Not the loudest winners. Not the ones who got there fastest. Think about the ones who reached their goals and still looked you in the eye without flinching. The ones whose success you can examine closely, every step of it, and find nothing they need to hide. That is rare. That is the kind of winning that actually means something. Because anyone can win if they're willing to sacrifice enough of themselves to do it. Anyone can climb high if they're willing to step on whatever and whoever gets in their way. But not everyone can stand at the top, look back at the path they took, and feel proud of every single step. That is the real test. Not whether you reach the top, but whether you can walk back down through your own history without wincing. So here's the question that should matter more than any goal you're chasing right now. If you get everything you want, exactly the way you're going about it right now, will you be proud of who you had to become to get it? Or will there be a version of you sitting quietly in the dark one night long after the celebration ends, replaying moments you wish you could take back? Replaying the friend you betrayed for an opportunity, the promise you broke because keeping it was inconvenient, the person you hurt because their pain was simply the price of your progress. Regret like that doesn't announce itself loudly. It doesn't show up the day you cross the finish line. It waits. It waits until the excitement fades, until the achievement becomes normal, until you're alone with nothing but your own thoughts. And then it speaks, quietly, persistently, asking you the same question over and over. Was it worth it? Here's the truth most people discover far too late. The goal you're chasing will eventually feel ordinary. The achievement will eventually feel routine. The applause fades within days. The title becomes just another word on a card. But the person you had to become to get there, that stays with you forever. If you stayed honest when lying would have been easier, that integrity becomes part of who you are. If you stayed kind when cruelty would have moved you faster, that compassion becomes part of your legacy. If you refused to betray someone's trust, even when betrayal was the quicker path, that loyalty becomes something no achievement can ever replace. But if you compromised, if you cut corners, if you hurt people without remorse, if you abandoned your values the moment they became inconvenient, then even your greatest success will carry a quiet shadow you can never fully outrun. There's a strange kind of person, the one who reaches every goal, who climbs every ladder, who wins every game, and yet flinches every time someone asks how they got there. That flinch is the cost, that hesitation, that small discomfort, that is the part of them that knows the truth, even if they never say it out loud. And there is another kind of person, the one who may have taken longer, who may have lost certain opportunities by refusing to compromise, who may have watched less patient people pass them by, but who can answer any question about their journey without flinching even once. One of these people sleeps peacefully, the other does not, and it usually has nothing to do with how much they actually achieved. So before you chase the next goal, the next milestone, the next version of success you've convinced yourself you need, ask yourself honestly, what am I willing to become to get there? And will I still respect that person when I finally arrive? Because true winning was never just about the destination. It was always about whether you can look back at your own journey, every choice, every moment, every decision, and still say, without hesitation, I am proud of how I got here. That is the only victory that actually lasts, not the title, not the money, not the recognition, but the quiet, unshakable peace of knowing you never had to lose yourself to win. There is something powerful about a person who refuses to compromise, even when compromising would be easier. Even when everyone around them is cutting corners. Even when staying true to themselves means moving slower than everyone else. That person may not always win first, but when they do win, they win completely. Nothing to hide, nothing to regret, nothing haunting them in the quiet hours of the night. That is the version of success worth chasing. Not the fastest, not the easiest, but the one you can fully own, every single piece of it, without apology and without shame. So win. Chase everything you want. Reach every goal you've ever dreamed of. Climb as high as you possibly can. But never, ever let the cost of winning be the person you used to be. Because some things, once lost along the way, can never truly be won back. Your integrity, once traded away, rarely returns the same. Your character, once compromised, leaves a mark that achievement alone cannot erase. So as you move forward, as you chase whatever comes next, carry this with you. The goal matters, but the person walking toward it matters more. Protect that person, even when it costs you time, even when it costs you opportunity, even when it feels like everyone else is moving faster by not caring the way you do. Because one day, you will stand at your own summit, whatever that looks like for you. And in that moment, the only thing that will truly matter, the only thing that will determine whether that victory feels hollow or whole, is the answer to one simple question. Did I become someone I'm proud of to get here? Make sure that answer is yes.